It's that time again, folks. It's the time for the Sunday show, but not the usual Sunday show, the extra special sexy Sunday show. It's the Sunday show after dark, y'all. The show where you can call in to talk to real atheists who believe in the things that you probably don't, or don't believe in the things that you probably do. We're here to talk about your gods. We're here to talk about your beliefs. We're here to talk about angels and demons and big feats and witches and all sorts of other things, and also to talk to you about science. If you believe in if you don't believe in the Big Bang, if you don't believe in evolution, if you believe that sex and gender are the same thing, if you believe that the Earth is 6,000 years old, if you have any of these beliefs that are scientifically contested amongst the religious community, now is the time to pick up the phone and have real conversations with people who have different beliefs. Because very often we get kind of locked into echo chambers where we just listen to ourselves over and over and over, or we, find shows like this which are just unnecessarily antagonistic. You'll be happy to know that today I am joined by the ever charming Owen Morgan, who is not only very kind and very erudite and very opinionated, but in a nice way, but he's joined by me, who's a complete fucking idiot. And so you've got a great chance today of getting through to somebody and having a great conversation and maybe learning a thing or two. So call that number on the bottom of the screen, 720-619-2288. If you want to talk about gods, today is a great day to challenge your faith. Or if you don't want to use your phone, use the web link in the description. Call in over them internets, especially if you're on the other side of the world. We still want to hear from you. That's everything I've got to say first off. Owen, amigo mio, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, yeah. I got to see you at the SSA convention this past weekend. That was pretty cool. I wish we had more time, but I had board meetings after because I'm a board member of the SSA now, so that was cool.
Oh, nice.
But right. Fun time. Are you going to any conferences in the near future that you know of?
I am. I'm going to, hold on. If you go to valkailabs.com, you'll do what I should be doing right now and remember where the hell I'm going to be. Baja. So let's see. I've got SSA. So the next one is BajaCon. The beginning of August, I'll be in Ontario, Canada. Then the Atheist community of Austin is having me down for the Bat Cruise in the middle of August. Then at the end of August, I'll be in Atlanta for the Dragon Con, where I'll be doing the Skeptic and the Science track. Then in October, I'll be in Wichita, Kansas for the Wichita Oasis. And then in November, over the Thanksgiving holiday, I will be in Germany and Austria, which people can sign up to go with me, and we'll go drink spiced wine and buy little trinkets and avoid talking about Donald Trump with your family this year. It's going to be great.
That is really cool.
That's everything I've got on the docket for now.
I may have to go to one of those and meet up with you at one of them. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, wow, you got a full schedule. Yeah, it's the end of the year, so it's winding down, but I still feel like I have no time for anything. It's crazy. I know.
Yeah, and I'm starting a PhD in the fall as well. Like in the middle of August, I'll be doing that.
Wow, so you've got so much going on. That's crazy.
I'm dying slowly, Owen, and I'm just trying to make do on the internet, telling people that Jesus isn't. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
God. Oh man. So really quick, do you have anything that you want to? I mean, I'm down to jump right in, but if you have anything you want to announce or anything like that, I should probably do my job and announce the next shows. But I want to hear from you first.
Yeah, sure. I don't think so. Let's see. I just made some new designs on my merch store, owenmorgan.com/shop. If you want to check that out. Of course, the line has a merch shop. It's pretty cool. You could check that out. As always, I wrote a book about World War II. Was Hitler an atheist? You could check that out. It's on Amazon and Audible. So yeah, that's about it.
Excellent. We've got Skeptalk tomorrow with Aaron, Ra, and Alexander. Then we've got Chewed Gum the day after that with Alyssa and Skeptical Heretic. Then we've got The Hang Up with Matt on Wednesday. Then we've got Thursday, we got the Transatlantic Call-In Show with Josie and Ben. And of course, on this channel, we are just lazy and don't take anything seriously, so we don't have anything scheduled on Friday or Saturday right now, because those are free times. With that, I'm down to kind of start jumping in. As always, we will prioritize theist calls on this show. I always am out there inviting people to call in whenever they say things to me on the internet. One person has called in that I did invite to call in. They are an atheist call, but I'm still going to take them relatively quickly. But we are going to start with some theist or deist or agnostic or whatever like that, because that is the nature of the show. That's what people come here for. So we'll start with that. But we still have a couple of lines open. So once again, if you believe in God and you want to tell us why, or if you believe that God is good, or if you believe that Jesus is necessary for your salvation, if you believe that the Bible is the good book, if you don't believe in evolution or the Big Bang or the true age of the earth or whatever else, this is your chance to call in and have an honest, serious, earnest conversation with people who talk about this shit for a living and actually give a damn about it. It's a really chill show, and you can call in and talk to us as much as you want. The number on the bottom of the screen, 720-619-2288. We aren't assholes unless you are, so give us a call and let's talk. We're going to start with Robert calling in from Urinary Tract, who says God might be real. I think he may have intimated so to me. I'm interested to know how. Robert, you are on the line with Forrest and Owen. How are you doing today?
Hello, how are you?
Never had a bad day.
That's good. Thanks for letting me talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
Should I just go ahead?
Yeah, tell us what God you think might be real, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so I don't believe in the God of the Bible or anything. There's just too much evidence in there, contradictory stuff and things like that. But I'm wondering if there just might be a God that we don't quite understand that watches out for us in different ways, because I've had personal experiences, more than one, and I can share one example, and I'm just curious to know what your thoughts are about it, and see if you think it might be a possibility that there could be somebody watching out for us. The example I have is I was my wife and I. It was late at night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, early morning. We drove up to an intersection, and we stopped at a red light at the intersection. And there's an uphill, so it's a blind intersection on one side, and then the downhill slope on the other side. And there was no traffic at the intersection except for my wife and I. And when the light turned green, I had a strong feeling, that I shouldn't move, even though the light was green, even though I didn't see any traffic. My wife didn't see any traffic, so she's a witness of this as well, not just me. And so I looked at my wife and I said, we should, I feel like we should just stay here. She agreed with me. She had a similar feeling that I was having. And after we paused, a car speeding really fast went through their red light. So even though the light was green for us, a car came up over the blind spot of the intersection, speeding at a high speed, went through the intersection, and if we would have gone through, it could have hit us and caused us to roll over and possibly be killed. And the car went through the intersection, slammed on the brakes on the other side of the intersection, and did a 180. And we were waiting to see, what is this car going to do? What are they going to do? And they weren't moving or anything, and so we decided, let's get out of here. So we went through the green light and just went home. But the amazing thing is that we both, and I had the strong feeling that we shouldn't move, even though I didn't see any indications in the area. There was no traffic. The traffic was very light because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. So we're like, so it's like, even though I'm leaning towards agnostic, I've had these experiences in my life where I kind of wonder, could there be a God that's watching out for us? Could there be somebody watching out for us?
Sure. So just so I'm understanding, this is not a Christian God. This is a generalistic deity that you don't have a specific name or attributes for, except for that it is watching over you or us in some way or another. This God communicates. This God communicates through vibes. You get a vibe that tells you not to move and not to do over. You would have been struck by a car, but you and your wife both got this weird feeling that you should really just stay here for a second. And sure enough, you were protected in that moment by this intuition. And that is your evidence that there is something out there that you are now calling a god. Is that fair to
right? Yeah. So this is one experience of many that I've had in similar, different types of ways. So it's not just this one experience that leads me to.
Well, let's focus on this one experience for a second, because I think it's important that we dig into. Sorry, I'm just taking one note of that because you said this isn't the only one that's important. But let's dig into this one. So you've got this event that happens, right? First thing that I would ask you is, how sure are you that there were no other signals, no other way that you could have possibly known this car was coming? The first thing that came into my head was infrasound. Are you familiar with what infrasound is?
Yeah, you can. I understand that there could be, your brain could probably perceive things that are going on that you may not be consciously aware of and stuff like that.
Right.
But it was was really late at night. There was no traffic in the area.
Neither
we didn't see any traffic. It was very light.
That would actually play into a little bit of the hypothesis that I'm having here. So infrasound, for those who don't know, is just a very, very, very low tone that is just too low for you to actually audibly hear. But it causes, whenever people do hear it, whenever they perceive it, it causes anxiety. It's used a lot in horror movies. A lot of horror scenes, when they're trying to build suspense, they will play an infrasound just to kind of cheat, because you can't hear the difference, but the very, very low rumbling causes you to feel uneasy. And so I wonder if there's no other cars out, which was an important part of your story. There's nobody else around, very light traffic, no reason for you to be cautious. If this car is rumbling down the road in a way that you can't see, is it causing these very low frequency vibrations that you can't hear, but you can feel, and it gives you this uneasy feeling? Now, I'm not saying that is what happened, but do you think that that is a more plausible hypothesis than maybe there's some guy that was watching you at this moment and was like, I need to make sure that Robert and his wife don't get T-boned while I'm also not protecting children starving to death on the other side of the world? You know what I mean? Like, what was going on there in that moment? Was it a sense that you didn't notice, or was it a partially intercessory God?
Yeah, all I can tell you is that I wasn't aware that I was hearing anything. What I was aware of is the feeling that I was feeling, that I shouldn't move, that I shouldn't go through the green light. So, right, I'm open to the possibility that maybe my brain somehow was processing this, but it's still, it's pretty amazing to me that it could do that.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's a great story.
Normally, I wouldn't have any reason to not go through the green light. So even if there was a rumbling light, there's a red light that they're supposed to stop at anyway, and normally traffic does stop at the red light. But this particular car went through the red light. So that's what's odd. I mean, I should still expect that people are going to follow the traffic rules, right? But this particular car didn't follow the traffic rules. So even if I thought that traffic was coming, why would I have the feeling that there would be danger when they normally should just stop at the red light? You see what I'm saying about that?
No, I get where you're coming from. I think that when I see a car moving, like when I'm at a stop sign and I can see cars coming, I can notice, like, hey, I can see with my eyes they're moving too fast to stop, and I'm cautious of that. And so if you've been driving a car for a long time, I understand. If you've been driving for a long time, you may have a way to also perceive this noise in that way. I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm not trying to give you the perfect answer here. I'm just asking you, do you think that the hypothesis that I presented here, just from hearing your story and just assuming here, like I said, no, not saying it is true. Do you think that my hypothesis is more plausible than there's this God that can do this stuff sometimes, and we don't know anything about him, and we have now this whole new realm of physics and new understanding of the universe? Like, what do you think is more likely?
If I didn't have other experiences to back up this, I would lean probably more towards your hypothesis. because I think it's a reasonable hypothesis because our brain can do amazing things. So I think it is plausible, but then I've had other experiences that are hard to explain too. So it just...
Owen, do you have anything on this before we move on?
Yeah, I was going to say, so it sounds like we have established that there are better explanations for that specific event than the one that you suspect might be the case. There are more likely explanations. So it seems like that in itself shouldn't be relied upon. You have others, though?
Yeah, I have other experiences too.
Well, I want to hear another, but let me just lay this out. Hypothetically, let's say another experience has an equally plausible explanation just like this, and it can be very easily explained, very easily discounted as kind of the same phenomenon. Would that change your mind? Like, if we came up with an explanation, an understanding of why this stuff doesn't prove a god or doesn't even hint at the possibility that there's a god watching, would it change your mind? Like, what is it that's making you feel like you want to believe it anyway? Is it all faith-based?
Well, because I've had, when I did believe in God in my past, I did have experiences where I prayed for an answer to a prayer, and the prayer was answered in a very specific way. And I could give an example to see what you think of it, if you'd like me to share that. But
you can.
Yeah, so that. Are you open to me sharing it then?
If you want, sure.
Okay, it's kind of personal, but it's just I'm trying to process this and understand how this stuff could happen.
Sure.
Anyway, okay, so it's related to when I was getting married to my wife, and we were preparing for our reception, and I, was getting dressed in my tuxedo and everything, but I had forgotten some white socks that I was going to wear with my shoes. And so that was kind of frustrating because like, oh no, what am I going to do now? Because I didn't want to walk around in bare feet in my shoes. It was going to be inconvenient. I know this is a small thing. It's like, why would God care about that? But, for me, it was going to make it less enjoyable for the evening, with my wife and stuff and dancing.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I just said a little prayer and I said, please help me to be able to solve this problem so I can have socks to wear just to make the night more enjoyable. So it's a small thing, right? But important to me, for that night. And so I went out and I went to talk to my mother-in-law, and my mother and I told them that I had forgotten my socks and trying to figure out what to do. Where this woman another woman, a friend of my, on my wife's side, happened to be standing close enough by to hear the conversation. She walks over to us and said, I wondered why I had an impression to put these white socks, because I was wearing a white tuxedo, these white socks in my purse. And she didn't understand why she was impressed to do that. But she did it, put white socks in there. And they happened to be the right size socks and male socks that fit me perfectly.
Okay.
Right there. So, and she needed to be in the right spot at the right time. She had to have the idea to even put them in her purse in the first place. So that to me was like, whoa, that's amazing. Like, how did that happen? So it had, a lot of things had to happen in order for that to work out. Like that.
These two stories on top of each other tell me a lot, but I want to know, Owen, do you have anything before I launch into a whole?
Go ahead. Do you think?
Question? Okay. So just putting this together, like, there's a couple of things that jumped out to me about what you said so far. The first is you said that you did used to believe in a God. So you have a history of faith-based thinking, right? Your two examples of this are that you had a vibe that helped you in a serious situation. That's a huge thing. And the next thing is that you needed some socks and you got some socks, right? And so when I think about these things, I compare that to all the people all around the world who are begging God for life-saving help in the most dire, painful, scary situations, and God is nowhere to be found. And so what this sounds to me is either A, this is a case of confirmation bias with you, where you are used to thinking this way, and you don't take into account all the times that prayer didn't work, you don't take into account all the times that God didn't show up for you, you don't take into account all the socks that you forgot with no resolution whatsoever, right? You don't think about any of that shit. You just think about moments that were coincidental and very interesting. These interesting coincidences stick out in your head, and they confirm this story without you actually processing the actual bulk of the data. And that's not on you. Everybody does this. If you go outside today and look for red cars, you will notice there are far more red cars on the street than you've ever noticed before, because you are not actually taking a tally of every single car and counting how many are red versus the rest of the population. You're just looking for one kind of information, and you're going to fucking see it. And you can do this with anything you want. And so that's hypothesis A, is that you are expressing confirmation bias. Some neat shit happened to you, as neat shit does tend to happen, and you are attributing it to this God, which you are used to believing in, even if you currently don't. The second hypothesis is that this God does exist, and he's fucking weird. Like I said, countless people all over the world dying in the most horrific ways. There's a genocide going on in Gaza at this very moment, and God helped you find some socks. And why? Is it what's going on with that? So, like, if you do believe in this God, then he's weird as shit. And that leads me to the question: if that's the hypothesis you want to go with, why are you calling this a God? Why not make it? Wouldn't it be more reasonable if this was either a very localized, like, minor deity or demigod, or maybe even just some other mythical creature like brownies? Brownies are mythical creatures that would just move your shit around and, like, play pranks, or maybe some sort of a guardian angel, and there is no God above that, or some other thing that has limited power within your life alone to help you do things like find socks and keep your foot on the brake pedal, but doesn't have grand power to stop starvation or war or genocide. That, to me, seems more reasonable if we're going to believe in a supernatural thing. But you are choosing to call this a God because that is your history of thinking. Does all of that sound reasonable to you? And if it does, again, I ask you, which of the two hypotheses that I presented to you actually make more sense?
Yeah, I mean, I agreed it's absurd for a God to worry about somebody's socks when there's so much death and misery going on throughout the world. It seems bizarre. And, you know, and I'm just trying to understand, I'm trying to process. So maybe like one of your ideas, guardian angels, maybe when people pass on, maybe there's some sort of guardianship that people watch over other people they've known in their lives. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to understand, because it seems pretty, I mean, the odds of that happening seem pretty amazing to me, that would even happen, that she would have those, like, you see what I'm saying? So it's just, I mean, it's miraculous in the odds of that happening at that moment in time. And the fact that she was there early and happens to be standing close enough by to hear our conversation in the first place, you know, stuff like that. And then having men's socks the right size that fit me, you know, just everything.
Yeah, no,
so
it's weird shit, and weird shit does happen. I can tell you about all sorts of weird shit in my life that's happened. I've pointed out to a tremendous amount of coincidences that seem just too bizarre and too strange to be explained by random chance, and yet random chance is the best explanation, because there just isn't any other one that doesn't rely on magical thinking. Yeah, I told the story on the show where I have had multiple occasions where, like, an online handle and gamer tag and stuff like that, I put in the name that I want, and it gives you a random string of letters at the end to make it unique. And multiple times in my life, that random string of letters has been my childhood house number. No fucking way that's possible to happen that way, but it's happened like a couple of times, and that's crazy. But I'm not going to sit here and say that there's some fucking supercomputer that's keeping track of my life that knows where I grew up and is plugging this number into things. Let's just say, oh, it's cool, it made two of the same random number and it happens to have some significance. That's fucking weird. And every other time I've ever seen a random number, it hasn't been that, and I haven't cared. That's all.
Yeah, and you know what? And think about it this way too. How many events do we experience every month in our lives? Like putting on socks or signing up for like an online account or whatever. A 1 in a million event is bound to happen to us multiple times per month, because we experience so many things back to back so often. It would come as a surprise if we didn't experience 1 in a million events frequently.
So you would okay. So you're suggesting that it would just be a chance type of thing, a probability type experience. Are you open to the idea that maybe there's guardian, people that knew you that have passed on could be watching out for you? Are you open to that kind of idea?
I'm open to the idea, but to that, for me to accept that that's even plausible, you would need to demonstrate that, number one, there is such a thing as a soul. Then you would need to demonstrate that there is such a thing as a soul which can persist after death. Then you need to demonstrate that that soul has any kind of senses about the world around it. Then you need to demonstrate that that soul has any kind of agency. Then you need to demonstrate that soul has any kind of influence on the world around it. And then you need to demonstrate that this soul is able to use its senses to recognize that I'm in trouble, use its agency to make a course of action to fix that trouble, use its effectiveness, its potence in the world around me to cause something to happen that actually helps me. All of that. It is a massive tall order when the only evidence we've got is one time I talked about socks and one time I didn't get hit by a car. And like that's just not enough for me to say, okay, well, maybe all of this shit that I have no reason to believe in is true.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you disagree with that interpretation? Do you not kind of see it that way?
No, I think one of the possibilities is that it's just something that happened, by chance, even though it is kind of amazing, some of the things that can happen. But I've had, other experiences too. So that's the problem, is that I've had a lot of experiences, but then you're saying the odd of that happening could be several times a month anyway. So
yes, well, the thing is, you have all these experiences, but I guarantee you have many, 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 many more experiences where cool shit didn't happen, where life was quite mundane. And you don't count all those because they're not interesting. And like, I can tell you honestly, like this, just from me to you, I don't believe in anything supernatural. I don't believe in any gods, demons, magic, angels, none of that shit. But I do believe there is such a thing as just blind, stupid luck. Sometimes things just happen in a way that tends to benefit somebody. You're just lucky. And I can tell you, honestly, don't know why, I got a lot of that shit. I got a lot of luck. Good shit just happens to me all the time. I don't know why. I don't deserve it, but it genuinely does. Good shit just happens all the time to me. Now, I can sit here and say, well, there's this pattern of just random good shit happening. Or I can be an asshole and be like, well, here's all the things that I did that allowed me to have these good things. Or I can be honest about the fact that like 99% of the time, I'm sitting here at my computer writing and nothing happens at all. I go to the store and nothing happens at all. I eat a quesadilla and nothing happens at all. And sometimes I lose shit and I'm not happy about it. Sometimes I get in a fender bender. I'm not happy about it. Sometimes I lose some money. I'm not happy about it. And all those things slip right out of my brain. But when something really neat happens that I'm excited about and I say, God damn, I'm so lucky, that sticks out and I'm happy about it. And I remember it. And I can say to you that I'm a very lucky person. It's just confirmation bias, yo. That's all it is. Okay. You can tell me all the stories you like, but unless you have actual positive evidence that this is indeed a supernatural thing that is interceding in your life, there's no reason to chalk it up to anything else besides blind, stupid luck. Maybe this person knew that you were wearing a white suit and in the back of their mind was like, you know what? Socks are cool. And put a fucking pair of white socks in there. Who knows? Maybe you felt infrasound on this car driving up. Maybe you actually saw headlights a little bit, but it was so small that you didn't really think about it. Maybe there was a big tell that this car was coming, but the trauma of almost getting in a wreck caused you to block it out, and now you don't remember it very well. Look up eyewitness testimonies and things and see how unreliable they are. Go ahead, Owen.
Yeah, and maybe nothing at all tripped you, or kind of tripped that thing in your brain. Maybe there really was nothing, and your brain just got kind of nervous. That happens to people all the time. People have this anxiety just out of nowhere, inexplicably, and it just happened to coincide with the exact right moment that something crazy happened. Maybe this person carries around white socks because they think white socks are like really cool. I mean, who knows? Billion possibilities. One of those possibilities is a God watching over us, but I would look at all of the others a lot closer. The simplest explanation is usually the correct explanation in these types of situations. So,
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I understand that, and that's part of why it's such a problem for me, because but when you have specific experiences that seem to be an answer, it just makes it hard. I'm just trying to understand.
I encourage you to go online if whatever day this was, look up the news from that day and look up how many people died in car accidents and ask where the hell their guardian angel was.
Right. I understand. Yeah, I understand perfectly about that. That's it's really
just cool shit
really
just happens.
So it's like, why did I get lucky? To be able to not get it, where other people are
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just.
Hey, Robert, I hope this clears some things up. If you want to, if you think about it a little bit more and you want to call us back and present something a little bit different, if you have some different evidence that you want to present us that isn't just an anecdote that could be explained by something else, we're open to these things. I'd love to hear it. But as of right now, it sounds to me like you have confirmation bias and a history of magical thinking that you're relying on, and that's not. I can't stress enough. Everybody does that. It's just really important to recognize it and try to keep it in check.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Robert. Have an awesome day.
Yeah.
Bye. Nice guy.
Yeah, totally. And I get the desire to feel like there's something extra happening, like with YouTube when I started. It purely boiled down to luck. I mean, I was in the right place at the right exact moment, and if I talked about anything differently or whatever, it just wouldn't have worked out. And sometimes that feels like something more. It's just not, Yeah,
it is true. There's no reason for me to be famous on YouTube. We got blind, stupid luck, and just why is it? Hey, another white guy's talking about atheism and science. Cool. That's what the internet needed today.
Right.
Okay, so we do have a deist on the line. That person is going to have to wait for a minute because, like I said, I have an atheist here. We usually don't prioritize atheist calls, but I did invite this person to call in, and so I don't want to have them waiting for too terribly long. Right before I take this call, though, I just want to remind everybody, number on the bottom of the screen is 720-619-2288. If you believe in a god or gods, or if you believe in the supernatural, or if you believe in angels or demons or ghosts or magic or pixies or Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster or a 6,000-year-old Earth or creationism or synonymous sex and gender or whatever other thing you want to talk to us about, if you're an anti-vaxxer, if you're a flat earther, if you want to discuss why you think witches can do the stuff in the world, I don't know, man. We get a lot of calls here. If you have questions and comments and concerns about atheism, if you want to ask us why atheism is true and what evidence we have for atheism, I've been hearing that one more lately, and it's really funny. Call the number on the bottom of the screen, 720-619-2288, or use the web link in the description to call in that away. We'd love to talk to you. We're here for you. With that, are you cool to jump into the next call?
Yep.
Okay, let's talk to Jose, pronouns he, him. I invited this person to call in about Gaza because he posted some stuff on my threads. Follow me on threads, or don't, because threads sucks. So let's talk to Jose. You're on the line with Forrest and Owen. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah. So what I specifically said to you on threads here was call in and I will go over your 3 points that you made in your post. And I took a screenshot of that. And I've got your 3 points here, which we will go over here in a moment. But I want to ask you if you'd like to start the conversation in any particular way.
Yeah, just, thanks a lot. I'm one of you guys. I know it's hard to believe. I've been called Blue MAGA so much that might as well just go ahead and think of me as the average voter right now. The Gaza movement does not enjoy popular support. And so I'm basically going to play devil's advocate here and just be like, this is how, quote unquote, Blue MAGA thinks, how MAGA thinks, how the vast majority of the American electorate thinks. And so I'm going to give you my best point.
I would prefer you didn't play devil's advocate and actually just talked about what you think. Because I'm not trying to argue with this ethereal, whatever voter that you think exists. I want to talk to you, and if you have a point to make, that's what I want to talk about. Is that cool?
Fantastic. And my whole point of just saying that was I truly believe, and like if you all knew me, you would also agree that me and you and Owen are on the same side of 90 to 95% of issues. And that's the only thing that I was trying to say with that.
Sure.
Okay.
That's fine. That's fine. So do you have a place you want to kick it off, or do you want me just to go straight into the points that you made on Threads?
Well, just real quick, you kind of did it again during the show. I really don't like it when people say that there's a genocide in Gaza. I think it's harmful. I think it hurts the movement. I think it hurts the party. I think it hurts people in Gaza. What else? I really wish you all would stop saying that. I say you all because all of you on the almost every host, I can't say I've heard every host refer to it that way. And so, I really just wish that you all would just not do that. And so that's kind of the point of my call, is to see if I could convince you to stop saying that.
So let's start there, and we'll see how far we can get into the actual specific points that you made, because that, I think, is the major overarching issue. I think everything else that we talked about on Threads could really be boiled down into just that point. Can you please give me, Jose, the definition of the word genocide? Yeah,
of course. And genocide is, it's going to sound like dumb, but it depends how you mean it. If you mean genocide, it is an inherently illegal term. And so the only way to be guilty of genocide is to be convicted in a court of genocide. That's not my argument by any means, that it doesn't technically count as a genocide. But I'm just trying to figure out what...
Okay, well, let's not make not your argument. Let's not make not your argument. I want to hear your... Because I could sit here and say, yeah, I killed the guy, but you can't call it murder until I'm convicted in court. I still killed a person. It's murder, right? So
No. That's what I'm trying to say is not my argument. That's what I'm trying to say is not my argument.
Great. So let's not focus on not your argument. What is the definition of the word genocide? Okay, so
when you say genocide, what do you mean? Because if you just mean forcible relocation of, like, by settlers or whatever, I understand that that's one act of genocide.
No, that's more in line with ethnic cleansing. I'm asking you for the definition of the word genocide, because when I say the word genocide, I mean the definition of the word. I'm using that word on purpose and deliberately. I'm not using it hyperbolically. I'm not using it for clicks. So I mean the definition. So can you give me the definition?
That's what I was trying to get you to, trying to get you to state your hard position on. Okay, so when you say genocide, the majority of your listeners think you mean systematic extermination of a people.
I don't care what people think I don't care what people think I mean.
Is that what you mean when you say that?
Jose, listen to me. I don't care what people think I mean. I just told you I am using it the proper way, using the specific definition. I am asking you, do you know the definition of the word?
Yes.
What is it?
Okay, so the textbook definition of genocide, and it's complex, but it has to do with, it has several aspects to it, with like relocation and this kind of stuff.
It has 5 aspects.
Right? Is that what you mean?
It has 5 aspects. Genocide is genocide is any one of 5 very specific actions with one very specific intention. It is not a fuzzy term. It is not a term that could be misconstrued or misinterpreted a lot of different ways. It has a very specific definition of exactly 5 actions with exactly one intention. That is the way that I use the term. I'm happy to detail this out to you, but I want to know, do you know that definition?
I've heard it. I'm familiar with it. I can't name it verbatim right now, but I accept your explanation of that definition, yes.
Okay, so why are you so upset about me using the word genocide when that is exactly, precisely what I mean and exactly, precisely what is going on in Gaza when you don't even know what the word means?
That's an assertion on your part.
Jose, you don't know whether or not I'm right because you can't give me the definition of the word.
I accept your definition, but you just made an assertion.
Okay, if you accept my definition of genocide, which I haven't even given you yet. If you accept the definition of genocide as it is in plain English, as I am telling you is what I'm using, then you would agree that that's what's happening. Sure, it's an assertion, is what I'm saying is happening, but if you accept the definition, it is incontrovertible that that is what is going on in Gaza.
I disagree.
How? What specific part of the definition do you disagree with, considering the fact that you don't know it?
Mens rea, intent. Israel is not trying to do whatever you're assuming and asserting that they are trying to do. That's
you
just
don't
the
know
bottom
what I'm
line.
assuming or asserting because you don't know the definition of genocide.
And you could have told us, Forrest. So please, I'm listening.
I could have. I'm happy to do so, and by the end of this call, I will. But I want to make it very clear here that you are calling in, chastising us for using the word genocide to describe a genocide when you don't know what a genocide is.
And earlier you said you don't care what people hear, but you should care because you have a platform. And if you can't tell me why you think there's a genocide and convince me or convince the general public, then you look like a fool and you're doing harm to your cause and you're doing harm to the people of Gaza. You should care what people hear when you say genocide.
So, of course, I care what people hear. What I'm trying to get across to you is that that's
that's
my
contrary
problem.
to what you said earlier.
No, hold on. Of course, I care inevitably what they're hearing. That's why education is important. But I'm not going to stop using the word because people have a misunderstanding of it. Similarly, I teach about evolution all the time, and I get comments all the time saying evolution's just a theory. So when I call it the theory of evolution, they say, aha, that means hypothesis. I can dismiss that. I don't have to believe in that. That's just some random idea. That's not what the word theory means. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop using the word theory because I'm using the word theory correctly. I don't have to stop using the words that are appropriate. You can let me finish what I'm saying. You can let me finish what I'm saying. I'm not going to stop using the word theory correctly because people are interpreting it incorrectly. I'm going to try to educate them on what the word theory actually means and hope they listen, but I'm not going to change my vernacular for their ignorance. Similarly, I am not going to stop using the word genocide to describe genocide because people don't know what genocide means. I'm not going to change my vernacular for your ignorance, Jose. The word genocide has a very, very specific definition, and I am using it appropriately. What is your question you have for me and Owen?
You said intent. Okay, the question was, do you think Israel or the IDF is trying to systematically exterminate every last Gazan? Yes or no?
Parts of it, yes. I am not going to speak for all of Israel, but yes, there is demonstrable evidence of that.
I disagree, and that's a very strong assertion, and you should have some very strong evidence. I won't throw Owen under the bus, but Owen, if you'd like to answer the question, I would love.
Yeah, sure. I would love to answer. Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is we have all kinds of strong evidence indicating how absolutely out of their heads some of the people are. A weirdly high proportion of people are in Israel. Like, I forget. You're gonna have to fact check me on this, but I believe a poll showed something like 60% of people in Israel, like Israelis, believe that that there are no non-combatants in Gaza. There is a really disturbing trend of people saying and doing some bizarrely weird stuff, and not just people, but like government leaders. Netanyahu is a moderate in some political circles, and he wants a genocide. That dude wants a genocide. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, whether they are actually committing that or not, you have to concede that that is their stated goal. Collective punishment and everything else. Like, I have literal video clips of people in command saying things like that.
So what you're saying is what people say matters. What people say matters is what you're saying, Owen, correct? For example,
I feel like you're trying to set me up for a ridiculous trap, but yes, what people say matters.
Whether or not, earlier you said whether or not it's happening. So that's you conceding that it may or may not be happening.
No, I said
No, it isn't.
regardless of whether it is. But it doesn't
Right.
matter if it is ultimately because the people at the top are expressing an interest in doing it. But yes, what people say matters.
Okay, great.
And
So
also,
what
what
does
he
the
said is
average
not
Gazan
conceding.
say? Time out. What does
I just
what
want to
the
clarify
average
what you said
Gazan
is not
say
true.
about
What
Israel?
he said, I'm just going to clarify again. What he said does, and I'm going to answer your question as well because that question is dumb as all fuck. Just to be clear, what Owen just said does not mean that it may or may not be happening. If you know the definition of the word genocide, actually what he said really helps strongly support the evidence that there is a genocide going on. Again, we're going to get to that definition in a minute because it's really important that you know it.
I
Now,
prefer more about the evidence. I prefer more about the evidence, but it's your show.
I prefer more. I prefer the definition, considering the fact that you're telling me I'm using the word wrong. The follow-up question that you gave was, what does the average Gazan? Your follow-up question was, what does the average Gazan think about Israel? Right?
Does it matter what they say? Is my question.
No. Genuinely, legitimately, no.
Okay, but it does matter what Israelis say about Gaza, according to Owen, correct?
No, that's not what he said.
My point is, you can't accuse someone of genocide because they're saying they want a genocide.
That's not
evidence.
Look, brother, that is not why anybody is saying that. That's not what anyone is saying. They're committing a genocide. No, brother. All right, look, I'm going to mute you for just a second. All right, and then we'll come back. I said I went to establish their intent. They very clearly are interested in committing a genocide, and they actually are doing it. My point was, it doesn't matter. My point is that these people have an interest in doing it, and that goes to the quote-unquote mens rea, as you mentioned earlier. You're trying to split this off and turn it into something it's not. Okay, you're unmuted.
Sorry. Okay, so you're the ones that are actually trying to separate the two issues. You have to have both. You have to have a genocide and the intention of a genocide. You have to have both. From where I'm standing, you don't have
again. No, you're showing again and again that you don't know the fucking definition of the word genocide. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this in real quick because we're now 13 minutes into you claiming that we're using the word genocide wrong while not knowing what the fuck genocide is. So let me now educate you on the actual definition of the fucking word as established by the UN Genocide Convention when the UN was established in response to genocide, right? So the actual definition of the word genocide is any one or more of 5 very specific actions, which I'm going to explain, that are taken with the intention of eradicating a religious, ethnic, national, racial, whatever group, either in whole or in part. That's a very clear distinction. The actual definition of the word of the genocide says that it is actions taken with the intention of destroying this group either in whole or in part. And the 5 very specific actions are killing members of the group, causing severe mental or bodily harm to members of the group, creating conditions of life meant to bring about the group's physical destruction, again, either in whole or in part, preventing births within the group, or transferring children from the group to another group. Now, dependent on the way that you interpret certain data, those last 2, you could argue, are happening. But the first 3 are beyond a shadow of a doubt happening. Now, the key here is the intention part of that very initial clause, because without that, you could call literally any war, any murder, any fist fight a genocide, and that doesn't make any sense. So that first part that says that you have to have the saying that these people are committing these actions with the specific intention of destroying this specific group, either in whole or in part. When we look at the record of things that Israeli officials themselves have said, we have here in 2023, the Israeli Minister of Defense, there will be no food, no electricity, no fuel. We are fighting human animals and we will act accordingly. We have here Benjamin Netanyahu. We will turn.
Did that happen?
I'm going to mute you so you can shut the fuck up and actually listen to things. Benjamin Netanyahu, we will turn them into rubble. I'm telling the people of Gaza, get out of there now. We're going to act everywhere with all of our force. We have the Israeli member of the Knesset. I think I've never learned how to say that properly. Right now, one goal, Nakba. Nakba that will overshadow the Nakba of 48. Nakba in Gaza and Nakba to anyone who dares to join. We have the Israeli President Herzog. It is an entire nation that is responsible. We have Israeli army spokesperson. The emphasis is on damage, not on accuracy. We have the former, at the time, Israeli Minister of National Security. The only thing that needs to enter Gaza are hundreds of tons of explosives from the Air Force and not 1 ounce of humanitarian aid. We have banners and billboards around Israel that say, victory equals 0 residents in Gaza. So we have repeated stated intention from high-ranking officials and the public in general that the entirety of Gaza is at fault. The entirety of Gaza is culpable in whatever has happened to them. Specifically, this is referring mainly to October 7th, that all of Gaza is now Hamas, and that all of Gaza will be punished. And what do we see when you are asking so fucking stupidly, is that happening? Yes, that is exactly what's happening, because right now we have mass starvation in this region. We have Israel cutting off all aid entering the region, cutting off electricity entering the region, cutting off water entering the region, destroying water sources, shooting people who are trying to go get food, shooting people who are trying to go fishing. We have not only very clear evidence, which I'm happy to lay out for you in ways that you cannot fucking deny, very clear evidence of just absolute wanton destruction across the entirety of Gaza. But we also have situations where just since May, over 1,000 Gazans have been shot down by the Israeli military while trying to get aid from food trucks. While these starving people, because we've already had, I believe it's well over 100 people who have starved to death, mostly children, and those are just the ones on record. We already have countless images of skeletal bodies, mostly children, pouring out of this region. When these desperate, starving people are going to get food from these aid trucks, they are being shot down by Israeli soldiers. That has happened systematically and repeatedly again and again throughout the course of this, and it has happened especially recently with over 1,000 instances just since May. And when they get the food, a lot of it is rotten, a lot of it is way too much to survive on, some of it has opioids crushed up into it. There are tons of food waiting at the border of Gaza. But Israel controls everything that goes in and out. And so you have 2 million people crammed into a tiny corner of a tiny box as they have been systematically pushed further and further and further and further south. And then when they get to the last safe zone, just like every refugee camp, just like every university, just like every hospital, just like every school, just like every mosque, just like every church, they are bombed there. Because that has happened at every one of those locations across Gaza. Every single hospital, every single school, every single fucking mosque, every single bit of civilian infrastructure. Over 80% of civilian infrastructure irreparably damaged. That's what we're seeing. Now, when you ask, is this putting people out? Yeah, out of the region. Is that genocide? No, that's ethnic cleansing, which also these people are calling for. Let all these other Arab countries take all these people. That is calling for ethnic cleansing, yes. Donald Trump's dumbass saying we should just get all these people out of Gaza. That is ethnic cleansing, yes. But that's not what we're talking about. Again, when we're talking about genocide, when I use the word genocide, I use that word on purpose because that is what it is and that is what the definition is. Now, Jose, you may ask follow-up questions.
That was a lot of assertions. I really don't know how to address that. You're literally repeating Hamas propaganda word for word, just like you did with the New York Times article. I'd love to talk about the New York Times article if you have a second.
Nope. We're going to stick to what I just said, because what I just said is a direct contradiction to the points you were trying to make. And the only rebuttal you have so far is all I'm doing is asserting the direct quotes that I just gave you and the direct definition that I just gave you, both of which
have you heard? Okay, I have a question. Have you heard of Al Ali Hospital?
I would love for you to actually address what I just said rather than just jumping to the next thing that makes you more comfortable.
You didn't ask me anything. You just, go ahead. I don't know, dude. Like, you just made a whole bunch of assertions, said some really bad lies about Jews. No, I mean, I just don't. You're basically
lies about Jews.
Like you're.
What did I say about Jews, Jose? Specifically, what did I just say about Jews?
I mean, all that mean shit, all the lies that you just said right now. Where do you want me to start? It was quite the gish gather.
What specifically did I just say about Jews? I gave you direct quotes from high-ranking members of the Israeli government. I gave you the definition of the word genocide, and I gave you specific things that you can easily look up and verify about what we've seen in Gaza over the past 2 years. What specifically did I say about Jews? Because I don't remember saying a fucking word about Jews.
My bad. I apologize. I jumped to conclusion.
You fucking should.
Israel,
no, you fucking should.
I apologize.
Because that right there, Jose, what you just did, and you say, oh, it was a fucking accident. What you just did is anti-Semitic as fuck, and that is what is causing the actual fucking problems with this discourse. When people equate any criticism of the Israeli government to a criticism of Jews in general, that is fucked up and stupid, and you should do better.
I'm sorry.
And causing
I'm a
problems.
Zionist, so I come by
You're
accident.
gonna fucking call in and tell me that I'm making things worse for Gazans, and then you pull that horse shit.
I'm sorry, it was an accident. It really was. Can we jump back on topic and go back to your 3 that you conceded were the ones, right?
My what?
Oh, FYI, I'm sorry. One quick thing. I do have this clip of an Israeli official describing what they are doing as collective punishment, which is a war crime. They are collectively punishing Gazans. We don't have to hold on. We don't have to look at these quotes from the New York Times. We can hear it from his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know why that's not exactly conclusive, but that's neither here nor there. If we can just jump to the.
No.
What do you mean not conclusive?
Do you remember the definition of genocide that I just gave you, Jose?
What if he's a disgruntled guy, or is it open public? I mean, I would love to see the video, but I haven't seen it.
Jose,
I'd love to see it.
Go ahead.
What's up?
No, I'm just that fits in the definition. The definition is any one of those 5 things.
Was he a shot caller? If he wasn't a shot caller, then it's irrelevant what his opinion is.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
He is a shot caller.
First of all, I don't know who this person is, but I believe what Owen's saying.
Ilan is his name.
Second of all,
I'm sorry. I would like to say something, but whenever y'all ready.
If this person is actually a high-ranking member of this government, and they are saying these things and not being excoriated for it, then yes, it absolutely still fucking counts. Owen, can you please tell us more about this clip?
Yes, Danny Ilan, he's an Israeli diplomat. He's a politician, ambassador to the United States 2002 to 2006, a foreign policy advisor currently, I believe, deputy minister of foreign affairs and Knesset member. It's a 2-minute clip. I don't know if we have time. I can play it if you want, but
I would love for you to play it.
Clearly, you want me to play?
No,
okay.
Come on, guys. I want to play it.
Oh, okay, God, no, not evidence. I'm going to put you on mute while we take this clip because I don't want you interrupting, Jose.
All right, I'm flipping over here.
Yeah, go for it.
Continue on the same vein because the Secretary General of the...
Wait, I don't... Can you guys hear it?
Yes, I can, yeah.
Yes. Said that he was deeply distressed by Israel's announcement of a siege on the Gaza Strip. He said that the humanitarian situation, quote, will only deteriorate exponentially and that crucial life-saving supplies, including fuel, food, and water, must be allowed into Gaza. So the UN is saying you must do this. You are saying you're not going to do this. How do you?
No, we're not saying that.
He's saying doing it immediately. What I'm saying is what you're doing. No. He's saying doing it immediately.
I got you. I'll tell you exactly what we're saying. I'm saying we will do everything for the Gazan people. Once and now we demand immediate surrender, unconditional surrender of Hamas. If Hamas people come out with their hands up and clear their weapons, believe me, everything will be restored to Gaza. It is Hamas in Hamas hands.
Okay, now I understand. Thank you for clarifying that, sir. I think we're actually on the same page here. You're saying that once Hamas leaves, you'll grant the Gazan people food, shelter, fuel, electricity, hospitals, schooling. And if they don't, and if Hamas doesn't leave, then they'll continue to starve and die in hospitals. You are defining for the international community right now collective punishment. You're saying until Hamas acts differently, the 2 million people in Gaza are going to be treated this way. And once Hamas acts differently, these 2 million people in Gaza will be treated better. That is exactly what collective punishment is. You're holding them accountable for the actions of others. That is the definition, the textbook definition of collective punishment, sir. Now, you may accept that that's what you want to do, but this is absolutely a contravention of international law.
Well, I'll tell you exactly. No, had we pushed them to the wall, we're not pushing them to the wall. We want to open a humanitarian corridor so they can leave. But if Hamas,
so that who can leave? Citizens? You're saying civilians can leave, but only through the Rafah border, correct?
At this point, yes.
So they can't come.
Where else?
Your country. They can come into Israel.
I'm telling you one more thing I want to say.
I want you to address that point. Don't just smile, sir, respectfully. You're saying you're making a corridor. They can go to Egypt. You're bombing them. You say you want to save them, but they can't come in.
Okay, I think, that's the end of the clip. This clip is from 2023, October 13th, 2023. So there you go. That is an example of an Israeli official saying they are committing a war crime. They have the intent to commit a war crime. They want to, and that's what they're doing.
Not to mention, like, that is the alternatives. Like, the options here are collective punishment and genocide or ethnic cleansing. Those are the options that the people have. It's absolutely disgusting. So, Jose, what do you think about that very clear evidence of a high-ranking official clearly stating that he intends to commit genocide?
2 points. I did not get that from that conversation. Going back to what Owen said about the UN, does it matter what people say? Yes, it matters according to if you know anything about the genocide case against Israel from the ICC, it has to do with things initiated before the war in Gaza. And that's where you guys are getting it from. That's what they're charged. That is the evidence they have of a genocide, is the statement from Benjamin Netanyahu and from that other guy you mentioned. But there was never a blockade, which is the thing. You have to have both. You have to have intent and you have to have the blockade. But there has been nonstop food, water, electricity, and internet nonstop since the war began. So it's going to be very hard to prove a case. I'm sorry, I'm not done. It's going to be very hard to prove a case for genocide when Israel is on camera dropping aid from planes, delivering aids in trucks, and these trucks are getting hijacked by Hamas. That negates the intent
are also,
on all of the
no, it does not, Jose. No, it does not, Jose. Two things that are really important. Number one, they are also on camera shooting people who are going to get that aid. They are also on camera bombing humanitarian aid trucks. They are also on camera killing humanitarian aid workers. They are also on camera shooting doctors. There are also several accounts of of doctors saying, I don't wear scrubs because people who wear scrubs get shot. There are also plenty of accounts of babies with sniper bullets in their heads. So the most deliberate kind of bullet in baby heads.
That's more assertion for it.
No, that is fucking evidence, Jose. This is evidence that is vetted and actually presented by reputable news agencies. And if you want better evidence, you think that there should be, Jose, shut the fuck up. If you think that there should be better evidence and you want more details, then maybe Israel should allow fucking international news to enter Gaza and actually collect details on what's going on. Because right now, they won't let journalists into Gaza, and they have killed over 100 journalists that were already there. They are shooting people in press vests, shooting people who are waving white flags. They killed their own hostages who are waving white flags, shouting in Hebrew, "We are hostages, please help us," because there are so many counts of them shooting people with their hands up, begging for help, that they couldn't tell the fucking difference between Gazans and Israelis. And they are killing these journalists and these doctors and these humanitarian aid workers, lying about it, saying, oh, it was an accident. And then we find later that here's this ambulance that has been bulldozed into a pit and buried in the same mass grave as hundreds of other innocent people. We have incidences of children being shot to pieces in a car over a course of days, along with every single ambulance worker that went to get them. If you think that these stories are bullshit, maybe they should stop killing journalists so that we can get better stories. But as of right now, all we have are the clips that are coming out from eyewitness testimonies, which are more than enough to prove that this is serious. And I'm going to show you, after Owen says something here, I'm going to show you something that you would have to just fucking tell me your eyes don't work to deny what's going on. Owen, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't need to make any assertions or assumptions or any of that. I just showed an example of an Israeli official openly stating that he intends to commit a war crime of collective punishment. And we have countless quotes from these people, like, no assertions necessary. You say that we need to allow journalists in. We don't even, because we have the evidence. We're not waiting for the evidence. We have it, right? Anyway, okay, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to really quickly, Jose, I'm going to give you 1 second to respond to this because I'm about to show you something else and I really want to hear what you have to say about it. So
let me walk up
just, I want to be very clear. This is not an assertion. This is not us regurgitating propaganda. This is us commenting on what international news organizations are showing every day, backed by what the actual Israeli government is saying they're going to do.
And I would have to argue that them trying to help the Gazan people negates all intent. So, I mean, I'm remained unconvinced.
I want to continue on the same thing. General,
sorry.
It absolutely does not negate all intent because that's not what how the definition of genocide works. Sorry. If they kill a bunch of fucking people systematically, and the third thing on that list was creating conditions of life meant to bring about their physical destruction in whole or in part, it doesn't matter if they stop shooting for a little while. It doesn't matter if they drop some measly bread once in a while. What matters is the amount of children starved to death. What matters is the amount of people massacred. What matters is the amount of refugee camps bombed. What matters is the amount of hospitals destroyed. What matters is the amount of people who are killed just walking down the road on camera. No guns, no weapons, nothing. What matters is the fact that we have had reports in Haaretz, which is an Israeli newspaper, just a few weeks ago.
It's a rag. It's a rag. Don't go. You know it's not a legit news story.
Yes,
Come on.
It's just some fucking people in Israel writing quotes from Israeli soldiers saying that they are killing people waiting in line. Yeah, keep that smug fucking laugh because I'm about to give you more evidence on top of this. So here you've got Haaretz, this newspaper in Israel, which is publishing quotes from Israeli soldiers. I can pull up the article for you if you'd like, saying, yes, we're allowed to just shoot people who are waiting in line for food. There's not a single instance that I have ever seen of any of these people shooting back at us. There are no weapons. There is no opposition. There is no threat. We just get to shoot at them. And then a week after that article is published from this, silly, illegitimate rag, we have the Associated Press, not a silly, illegitimate rag, publishing the exact same quotes coming out of the mouths of American contractors who are there at those aid distribution sites, who are calling those aid sites completely amateur, completely unprofessional, completely ill-operated, and saying that they and their colleagues and the Israeli soldiers are shooting at unarmed, non-combatant people looking for food. So you have the Associated Press publishing quotes from American service members saying the exact same fucking thing that the Haaretz paper is saying about Israeli soldiers saying the exact same fucking thing. And that goes right on top of all of the videos that Israeli soldiers post on their own social media of them destroying people's houses, destroying medical equipment, laughing at the deaths of innocent people. So yes, you have very clearly at least 3 of the 5 conditions of genocide, arguably all 5, but at least 3 of the 5. And yes, you have stated intent from soldiers and government officials. Now, what I think is really fucking important is that one of the things that you said on Threads that I said I was going to address is that the Israeli army has shown lots of restraint. They've shown all this great restraint. More restraint than any other army in the world, I believe was your actual quote. So let me just go ahead and pull up Google Earth here. And I'm going to see if I can go full screen on that. There we go. And I'm going to open up OBS, and I'm going to just show my display capture. Can we get me full screen for just a second so that I don't know where in the screen I need to have this display? Can we pull me up for just a second? Is that cool? There we go. Thank you so much. So here I have my display of Google Earth here. And you can see here is Israel here. And we're going to zoom in. Here's Gaza, right? And we're going to go straight into Gaza City. Now here you can see what Gaza City looks like. These are images from 2020. Cool thing about Google Earth you can do is you can actually set it back to historical images. So here we have Gaza City in 2020. Let's skip forward to today. Jose, can you see the screen?
No, but I've seen it before.
Okay, great. Well, then it's fucking extra disgusting that you're making the claims you're making. But for everybody else at home, we skip forward to today, and you tell me, does this look like restraint? Does this look like the most moral army in the world, making very specific targeted attacks just against, specific militant operatives? Does this look like anything else
like every
than just
other war
wanted destruction?
Ever in the history of the
No,
world.
it fucking doesn't, you liar. Look at this from 2020. Scroll out. Look at all these green fields. Let's go down to Khan Yunis and take a look at all these beautiful standing buildings. And then skip forward to today. Does this look like every other war? A complete city annihilated. Absolute destruction. As we actually saw in those quotes I gave you, we will turn them to rubble. The entire nation is responsible. The focus is on damage, not accuracy. Here's 2020. And here's today. This isn't even today. This is from 2024. This is from a year ago. So it's only gotten worse from here. If you can look at these images that you can see with your own fucking eyes and tell me that this is how a war is supposed to go, you're fucking delusional. With that, you can pull me back over to the side so that everyone doesn't see my ugly face anymore.
It's collective punishment. It's collective punishment. Everybody is suffering.
That is what collective punishment is. That is what collective punishment means. Let's talk to Jose again. Jose, you think that fucking counts as every other war ever in the history of the world?
Look at Mariupol right now.
Oh, the Ukrainian city is what you're saying? You think that Russia destroyed the civilian centers? I think that they have destroyed some, and it's been really ugly. But are you telling me that you think that that's okay? That that's a good thing? Israel has absolutely
Forrest
done.
Used the word should. Forrest specifically said, "You think war should be conducted this way? Absolutely not. War should not be conducted this way or any way at all." But my point was that this is just a war like any other war.
No, I'm going to mute you for just a second. Let me clarify this. Russia and Israel are both authoritarian, dirty governments full of corruption and absolutely completely amoral. When you find commonalities between them, I can't imagine you trying to defend one off of another. That blows my mind. Aside from that, what Israel is doing is absolutely unequivocally, objectively worse than what Russia is doing in Ukraine right now, because Ukrainians have an army to fight back, and they're actually pushing back to some degree. Gazans really don't have an army to speak of, and they're bombing cities indiscriminately. I remember watching video footage from Russia where they went in and took advantage of innocent women and did absolutely unspeakable things, bodies laying on the ground and everything. And that was when that's when Ukraine had an army built up pushing against it. Just because Russia wasn't capable of doing what Israel was capable of doing to Gaza, because there wasn't the same amount of pushback in Gaza, does not mean that it's excusable to any degree or that they're similar in any way or whatever else. All right, I'm unmuting you now.
Yeah, and so that wasn't my argument, right? I
Like
didn't just pull this out of my butt. I have a reason why I think that Israel did it that way. You know, am I justifying it? Absolutely not. But Ukraine's fighting a uniformed, traditional World War II style enemy, whereas, you know, Israel's fighting something more akin to a drug cartel. So it's going to be different. But Israel had reasons for why they did it that way, and I'm not trying to justify that. But it is not a war crime, and it is not genocide. I'm sorry.
It is a war crime when civilians are being targeted or hit indiscriminately. I don't care. Look, it's like Bill Burr made this joke recently. You go over to your neighbor's house, and he holds a baby up to protect himself from being punched. You can't punch through the baby. You have to work around that. Leg sweep him or something. You can't just, like, hurt innocent people like that. There's no excuse. I don't give a shit if it is a drug cartel. You cannot drop bombs indiscriminately on cities to take out a drug cartel. It has to be.
Let's talk about indiscriminately. You just made another assertion. Indiscriminate. Let me say why it's not.
No, we literally saw it.
No, I'm just sorry. We literally saw it. And also, that's what they fucking said they were doing. They said the focus is on damage, not accuracy. They are doing what they said they were going to do. Not to mention the fact that we have now bombed 36 hospitals. The last time I checked, the number was 36. And that's why we have tens of thousands of civilians dead. We have them on camera, IDF members, dressing up as doctors to go into a hospital to then shoot people in their beds that they later claimed were actually terrorists. It doesn't matter if they were. It doesn't matter if they were the worst Hamas members in the world. They were in a hospital seeking treatment. That makes it a war crime to kill them there. It is a war crime to use white phosphorus. Israel has used white phosphorus. It is a war crime to bomb hospitals. Israel has bombed hospitals. It is a war crime to engage in collective punishment. Owen showed you a clip of Israel not only engaging in collective punishment, but bragging about it. It is a war crime to indiscriminately kill civilians. We have video of them indiscriminately killing civilians. As I have said several times, we have pictures of babies with fucking bullets in them. We have fucking Hind Rajab's entire story is that. We have tons and tons and tons of examples of war crime after war crime after war crime after war crime. And you're sitting here making excuses for it by saying that the enemy is this and that and the other. There is no excuse. That's what I'm trying to get across to you, Jose. It doesn't matter how evil Hamas is. It doesn't matter how much Palestinians hate Israelis or whatever other fucking propaganda talking point that you want to throw at us. It doesn't fucking matter. War crimes are wrong. Period. And this fits the definition of genocide plainly.
My life?
Yep.
For a minute more.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just have to say I disagree. You've made a lot of assertions, very little evidence, but I have one question. If I see a picture of a baby with bullet holes, is that a war crime? One, Hamas has guns too, and they shoot civilians. Two, if an Israeli soldier does kill a civilian, that's just a rogue guy. That's a war crime, but that's not genocide. And everything that you described as genocide describes every war ever that I've ever heard. And I study history, so, you know, we're just going to have to agree to disagree. But you calling it a genocide with most of the country not believing you is doing great harm to your own cause. And, of course, is doing harm to our country. Look what we have in office right now because of that. That's it.
Okay, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard, and you should be fucking disgusted with yourself for saying it. First of all, one guy doing one thing, being a rogue soldier and all that shit, would be great if it wasn't happening all the fucking time. If we didn't have actual video of IDF soldiers kicking people off of the I cannot handle you being such a fucking douchebag and interrupting us all the fucking time. We are telling you things that you can look up on video and see with your own fucking eyes. We have video of IDF soldiers kicking people off of fucking roofs. We have video of IDF soldiers shooting innocent people, bombing innocent people. We have video of the fucking bomb things from the plane, the drones, showing them striking people just walking down the fucking road. And to say, oh, one soldier did it. No, it isn't just one soldier. And both Owen and I have shown you the intention behind it from the mouths of the Israeli fucking officials. And then you're going to sit here and say you disagree when we are literally giving you the textbook definition of the term. I don't give a shit if you disagree. That's what the word is. That's what the word means. That's the way the word is used. We are speaking appropriately. You are grumpy about it. This is facts over feels here. And finally, for you to say, well, most of the country doesn't agree, and that means that Trump's in office. Who gives a shit if we get Trump elected for doing the right fucking thing? I would rather stand up for what's right and try to prevent genocide than pander to bullshit to allow thousands and millions of people to die just to try to avoid electing this fucking fascist. I am on the record on this show talking about this point during the election. You can go look up the clip of me and Josie on fucking Cus I Wanna, where we're taking calls from Trump voters, people who are going to vote for Trump, and that exact point came up. Well, this is going to get Trump elected. And so what's the answer? Do nothing? Ignore it? Just say that it isn't happening? Say that Israel's right as they starve millions of people to death? Just to say we can just sit back with our arms folded and watch the shit unfold? Fuck no. And fuck you for suggesting it. It is imperative for all of us to use our voices for the people who don't have any. It is imperative for all of us to speak up on the platforms that we have for the starving children that don't get that chance. And for you to suggest that we should avoid doing that for political convenience is fucking gross. With that, we have another caller on the line. Oh, no, they dropped. We had another caller waiting that said what's happening in Gaza isn't genocide. I was down to switch over there, but I guess not anymore. I have one final question for Jose. And oh, no, and Jose just hung up too. My final question for anybody watching this shit then, because Jose is a fucking bitch that hung up, and the other person who was saying Gaza isn't genocide is a bitch that hung up. So for anybody else who's watching this and still thinks that maybe we're missing something here and that all this shit is justifiable, I present to you this gambit. Every single member of Hamas is hiding in your town. Every single one of them. And also every person in Al-Qaeda. And everybody in Boko Haram. And every other terrorist group in the whole fucking world. They're all hiding in your community. Do you think that we should be using the exact same tactics as they're using in Gaza for you? Should you be put into a little box and bombed into oblivion? Every church, every school, every hospital, every refugee camp, everywhere, obliterated, starved, no water, no electricity, no food. Soldiers marching up and down the street, shooting people with wanton abandon. Do you think that these same tactics should be used on you if there's a terrorist around you? Or is it only brown people over there that you're okay with this shit? Is it only those people that are subhuman enough to be held accountable for the actions of a fucking terrorist organization? Millions of people starved to death because some terrorists did some terrorism. Shame on you for thinking this shit. You should be fucking embarrassed about yourself, and because you probably won't be, I'll be disgusted for you. Owen, any further thoughts on this one?
No, I don't think so. I couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely. It's it's absolutely undeniable at this point what is happening, and I refuse to accept that people who claim that it is not at the bare minimum an ethnic cleansing, at least. I refuse to accept that those people are acting in good faith. That's all I got.
It just fucking sucks when you have somebody who calls in to say we're using this word incorrectly, doesn't know what the fucking word means, and then after having the word repeated, defined for them and repeated for them several times, can end the call by saying, I just don't believe you. That sounds like hearsay. Because I have some Israeli propaganda that says we're letting food in. I don't, fuck, 50-something thousand people? Who knows what happened to them? They're all dead. After all, that was the Gaza Health Ministry that counted those bodies. So, never mind the fact that independent organizations have fact-checked it and said that it's probably significantly higher numbers. No. At the end of the day, these are just some fucking people in Palestine bitching. And so who cares, right? This isolated terrorist organization should just do what we want. And then 2 million people can be treated like human beings again. As long as they get the fuck out of the land we want, right? Disgusting.
Right, and one last thing I wanted to mention. It's hard to know exactly how many people have died over there or whatever because of all the chaos, but I do know that there were about 2.2 million or 2.3 before October 7th, and Donald Trump sat there with Netanyahu in conversation in front of the press and said there are about 1.7 million now. So, what can we infer from that? About 500,000 deaths? I mean, I don't know if it's that high. I don't know. I'm just going off of what Trump is saying.
Right. Fucking gross, dude. I encourage, there's a reason Al Jazeera was banned in Israel, because that's what free countries do. That's what the democracy of the Middle East does, is they ban news organizations that say things they don't like. Freedom and all that. There's a reason they were banned. Go look at some of the things they're publishing. I encourage you to check out Middle East Eye and see some of the things that they're publishing, see some of the images they're publishing. Even CNN and the New York Times now are pointing this out. One of the things that Jose pointed out, I shared a thing about starvation in Gaza, and he claimed on my threads that actually, Hamas is stealing all the food aid, that the food aid comes in, but then Hamas steals it. Okay, if terrorists are stealing the food aid and people are starving, you know what a moral country does? They send more food aid. And with the most sophisticated army in the world, I know they have the most sophisticated military technology in the world because we're supplying it to them. Tens of billions of dollars worth. We're giving it to them. The best fucking army in the world. They could go in there with extreme precision, with extreme care, and make sure that that food is protected and only goes to the people who need it. But no, the ragtag fucking terrorists that are so disorganized and everything that they just hide in caves and tunnels and are also so incredibly fucking sophisticated and so threatening that this massive army with tens of billions of dollars of American money and weaponry can't fucking go guard a fucking food truck and instead have to just gun down thousands of people starving, desperate, needing food. Yeah, that makes total fucking sense. And you tell me that I am the one spewing propaganda. And then we have the New York Times article that he mentioned where Israeli officials are now admitting that there's no fucking evidence of that happening. That, yeah, maybe one time some terrorists seem to take some food for themselves, but systemic, widespread, consistent, nah, none of that. What we do have evidence of are just hundreds of tons of food sitting on trucks rotting at the border. What we do have evidence of are the videos of Israeli people destroying food at the border to make sure that none of it goes into Gaza. What we do have evidence of are Israeli officials saying not one grain of rice shall go into Gaza, not one drop of water shall go into Gaza until all of this is over, because the entire country is responsible and we're fighting human animals. Those are the things that we do have evidence of. Words out of their mouth. What Jose would call assertions. The words of the people doing the fucking war crimes. Or propaganda, yes, of course.
And one more thing about this. A tenet of fascism is that your enemy is both too weak and ineffectual to govern properly, and also too strong to overcome. Too stupid to know what they're doing, and too smart for us to work against effectively.
Yup. Man. Who wants to take some Theist calls?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go back to doing our job. Also, to the person, speaking of which, the person in chat who says, none of this has to do with God, you'll be delighted to know that we take calls about human rights issues and shit all the fucking time. Feel free to just watch the videos after they're live if you want to skip calls. But I think it's pretty important. We sit here and we talk about God from time to time. Also talking about the systematic extermination of 2 million people. Pretty fucking important, yo. Maybe you want to calm down a little bit on the high horse you're sitting on there. Let's talk to Tom calling in from moist intestines. I hope they are. You don't want them dry. Who says that God is linked to the universe. Tom, Tom, pronoun Tom. I just noticed that as well. That's great.
All right.
Tom, you're on the line with Forrest and Owen. How are you doing today?
Hey, pretty good. Yeah, I usually like watching the show, but after that last exchange, that was kind of intense. But
It was gross. It was really fucking gross. Hey, really quick, I just want to be clear. Like, you know, Tom's not a pronoun, right? Like, can we just, before we get into it, can we just establish?
That's fine.
You do know that?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
He just
Okay, great. So what pronouns would you like us to use for you?
I really don't have any pronouns. I don't know a pronoun to give you.
I think you just used one.
You just literally used a pronoun. So yes, you do have pronouns.
Okay. Whatever that was.
So which ones would you prefer? He, she, it, they? What do you like?
Well, I'm a he, so let's say he.
Okay.
Okay, see how easy that was? Yeah. So he, him pronouns for Tom. Let's put that on the screen. How fucking hard was that? What a weird thing to make a big deal over. Now, you say God is linked to the universe. Let's talk about that. What God are you talking about that is linked to the universe?
Just God in general. Say God in general.
Okay. So we're talking about God in general, so not necessarily the Christian God or the Muslim God or the Hindu gods or any of them.
No, I don't know any of that stuff, but no. But let's say, the higher power, prove to you that it exists. Let's
Higher
say,
power. Okay.
Yeah, we'll say a higher power, right? But you can kind of classify that as God or whatever you want to classify that as, I guess.
Okay.
But let's say
Can you please explain the difference between higher power and the way that you're using it? And if I were to say the laws of physics are a power above my own that do control the universe, but certainly wouldn't be called God. So what's the distinction here when you say higher power? Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, it's kind of hard to say it's God itself. If let's say something showed you miracles in your life, you can't really say that was God himself, but it was definitely a higher power.
Did you say God himself?
Or God itself, itself, himself.
Okay, so God. So we were back on the pronouns. I want to make sure that if you're claiming that God uses he, him pronouns, I want to know why. But if you're just saying that as a general thing, cool.
Right. Just itself, yeah. So let's say, God proved himself. Okay.
All right, Owen, do you want to kick us off? Do you have any other starting questions? Because those are all my starting questions.
Okay, so you're telling me that you think that a God exists. Some God, and it's not the Christian one, it's just a God out there. Can you tell me why you think that?
Well, I was, let's say you've seen miracles.
Sorry, you're cutting out a little bit, so I may ask you to repeat yourself. You said you've witnessed miracles?
Yeah, let's say that.
Okay.
Or let's say God proved himself to you by showing you miracles. Let's say that, instead of talking about me.
Well, let's not say anything. We're asking you why you believe this. We have never witnessed miracles. So I don't know what it would look like to see that. So what miracles have you witnessed?
God showed me what love looked like.
What love looks like. And how do you know that it was God that showed you that instead of you just experiencing it?
Right, let's say the higher power.
Okay.
Well, the word God seems to be the colloquial shortcut here, but I don't know how important that is. I would love you to I'd love for you to answer Owen's question, then I have another one.
Okay, what are you saying? I didn't hear.
Can you tell me, like, how you know that it was God that showed you what love is like, rather than you just experiencing it naturally?
Right, it was a higher power. That's why I said I'm not sure exactly if it was God. I know it was just a higher power. We'll say that.
Okay, same exact fucking question, Tom. How do you know it was a higher power that showed you what love looks like, rather than it just happening naturally?
Well, because it was miraculous. I've never, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's a miraculous thing that happened, and it's unexplained. So I'm going to say it's a higher power, because a lower power couldn't do that. I would think. I would have to say it would be a higher power.
So just to be clear, what I'm hearing is that something interesting and unique happened that you can't explain. Therefore, it's magic, and therefore there must be a higher power that did the magic.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's dumb as all shit.
Okay.
I feel like Tom, it seems to me that he was framing that in a kind of a ridiculous way to kind of get you to bring out the point a little bit more, and you just accepted the ridiculous framing.
Yeah, I deliberately gave you a straw man for fun, and you were like, hell yeah, that straw man's, yeah. And that's concerning. That makes me wonder if you're serious about any of this.
Well, I'm pretty serious about it, yeah. So, but I had a question that went along all that.
What causes the tides, Tom?
What causes the tides?
Yep.
In the ocean?
Yep.
I'm not sure. Gravity or rock template moving?
It's the moon. It's the gravity from the moon, among some other things.
Okay.
The biggest one is the gravity from the moon. So 1,000 years ago, when we didn't know it was gravity from the moon, would that mean that it was actually God, or was it always the moon even when we didn't know it was the moon?
That was probably always the moon.
Right. So you had a weird experience where you saw you know what love is now. You jizzed real good, and now you have a different perspective on love, and you have this what you're now calling a miracle. Is it possible that there is a naturalistic explanation for what you're describing, and you just don't know it yet?
I would say not, because it's been several years since that happened.
It was a long time before people. It was a long time between people noticing the tides and understanding gravity. It was thousands of years.
Right.
So, what I'm trying to get across to you here, Tom, is that you saying I had an experience that I can't explain, so therefore it's God, is as silly as someone saying I see the tides and I don't know about gravity, therefore it's Poseidon. It makes as little sense as that.
Well, if it happened to you, you probably wouldn't say that. I see the gist.
I disagree entirely.
All right.
I am curious. You said you know what love looks like. Do you mean that literally? Does love have a physical and visual appearance?
Yeah.
Or were you using that term metaphorically?
No, it has a physical appearance that you could see, or you can't see. But he showed, or God, or the higher power showed.
Okay, this is too crucial of a point for you to be so flippant about. Can you literally physically see love or not?
There's like a chemical reaction that your body produces, like, the warm fuzzy feeling. I'm assuming that comes out of your body like sweat or whatever.
Okay.
And it's love that you feel. You feel the warm fuzzy, and you can see that if you can actually see it. But
so are those the physical properties that you're talking about when you say that God showed you what love looks like?
It wasn't really physical property. Yeah, well, yeah. Physical property. Sure.
Okay, so then in grad school, when I studied neuroendocrinology and I learned about the hormones that are involved in love, that was me meeting God, or was that me meeting, Dr. Dawes?
Probably Dr. Dawes.
Probably Dr. Dawes. So I ask you again now. You say that God showed you what love looks like. What exactly did God show you in this visual form?
I said he showed me the substance that was coming from a mother to his child.
He showed you what? The substance?
Yeah, a substance. A woman was holding her child, and I could see the beauty from the love from her to the child.
Was it like an aura?
Or what? Are you just describing breast milk at this moment? What the fuck's? What is this?
It was very beautiful. I don't want to say something like that, but it was clear. It was a clear.
Is it like a film? Is it like an aura? Is it like a being, an individual that stood next to them, or
You're right.
Or what?
It was a mother child, so it was a watery looking, miraculous that you could see from the mother going to the child.
Miraculous.
Breast milk is love. Breast milk is love, clear. And if you come real hard, that's meeting God. And also, I'm gonna have to write to Dr. Gujar and tell him that his neuroanatomy class was a spiritual thing. Apparently.
Yeah. I don't know about all that, but yeah.
Well,
But
Dr. Gujar taught me graduate neuroanatomy and taught me all about this, and then Dr. Dawes taught me some cool stuff about it too. Dr. Dawes Bradu taught me some really cool stuff. All of these amazing professors apparently were Jesus, and they were able to tell me what love looks like because they taught me about things like oxytocin. Amazing.
But I had a question that went along with that. But
what's your question?
If you did see miracle, let's say God, or let's say the higher power proved it to you the way it proved it to me. And I know you probably can't realize that maybe at the moment. But if the higher power could, can take control of your mind, your physiological state, where it would show you miracles like that, would it also have answers to all of the questions of the universe? Would you think?
You're asking if we think if a God showed us the answers to, or if God took control of us, would it show us the answers to the universe? Is that the question?
No, do you think that the higher power would know all the answers to the universe?
I guess it would depend on God.
That's a dumb question, Tom, because we don't know if this God exists, and if it does exist, we don't know anything about it, any physical or metaphysical or spiritual or emotional or mental or any other properties besides that it exists. So you're asking me, if you saw the Loch Ness Monster, would it do your taxes? I don't know that the Loch Ness Monster is real, and we have to establish that before I know whether or not it has a certification to be a CPA. This is a completely different question. I don't know what a God would do if I saw a God or if it did a miracle, because I don't think gods are real, and I don't think miracles are real.
Okay.
Do you think that?
You think that? I'm so fucking annoyed, and you're just over here just fucking trying to chug along. Oh, God. That's so fucking stupid.
But if it could take control of your mind, do you think it would know?
That's actually a good question.
Yeah, well, do you think it would know all the answers to the universe if it could control your mind? The higher power could control your mind.
Do you think that?
What do you think, Tom? Do you think that if God took control of your mind? Yeah.
Because our body makeup is made of everything that's in the universe. So if it can control our mind, it can control all the makeup of the universe. So it probably would.
Can you control a car, Tom? Can you control a car?
I have a driver's license.
Yeah. I'll say yes. Isn't a car made of the same kind of material that the rest of the universe is made of? Just like your body is?
Yep.
So does that make your car the whole universe? And does that mean that you can control the whole universe because you can control your car?
We can control the whole car. We might not be able to, but we can control the whole car.
Does that mean you can control the whole universe because you can control the car?
No, because I don't think we don't have that many atoms.
So if some space wizard can control my body, why does it make any sense to say it can control the universe?
Well, I'm just thinking because our body's made of, the molecules and stuff of the universe. So if it can control your mind,
so is your car.
Some of it, yeah. But
no, all of it.
Things right, and we've made some, things like that, but
it's all of it. All of your car is made of the same kind of stuff that all of the universe is made of. It's atoms. Same elements in the same order.
Okay.
You disagree?
No, I'm going to say I do agree. All the stuff in the car is from the universe.
Okay.
It sounds to me, Tom, like you have never had a serious conversation with anyone who disagrees with you. And if you have, you didn't take that conversation very seriously. You didn't engage with it or entertain any of it or really absorb any of the issues. Because so far you're telling me things that clearly you haven't thought about at all. It just seems to be the first thing that comes out of your head. And then when we give you any pushback, you're like, oh, fucking, I don't know.
Well, sometimes it's hard to keep track, when you guys are, I'm not watching the TV, so I'm just on the phone. It's kind of hard to keep track of what you guys are saying.
As you should be. Yeah. We're only addressing what you're saying.
exactly. I hear you.
And you've yet to give
Well,
us
that was my
anything that
question.
makes sense.
Well, that was my only question, so I guess I'm done.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, thank you.
Okay. Please go learn what a pronoun is and call in next time with something better than like I think maybe a space wizard made me jizz hard. Bye.
Okay.
The fuck was that?
Confusing. That's what.
I'm serious, man. I know I was short, I was curt, I was a jerk on that last call, but like, holy fuck. After 30 minutes of like, hey, is it cool to bomb innocent people? And then I was like, all right, let's get a palate cleanser. Let's get somebody who actually gives a shit. And you get that? Oh
Yeah.
my fucking God.
Yep.
Oh. Tom, apparently I'm seeing the chat and a lot of people are saying that like Tom calls in a lot apparently, and it's the same thing. You just ask some random fucking thing that makes no goddamn sense, and it goes, "Oh, okay." Tom is the new Steve. Right. Everybody remember Steve, the guy who just read an article online or saw a random video, and then that was magical, and now he had to call and tell us about it, and also
Stevie.
doesn't know my name apparently. What are you saying to me, Morgan?
Stevie. He's
Stevie.
dead now.
Stevie Weevy Fofeevy Banana Fan of OV. Somebody made a fucking animated thing of that, by the way. If you go on my I think it's on my YouTube channel. Let's see here. Somebody animated that moment, and it's great that somebody would put in that much effort. Yes. I'm gonna put this in the chat. This is the last time we talk to Steve on this show. That's fantastic. Okay. Let's do the last couple. Let's talk to Reed, pronouns he, him, who is a deist who says God is us. Reed, I swear to whatever God you believe in, if you just fucking give us some bullshit about like, well, if you think about it, cars are Jesus or whatever, or breast milk is a miracle, or what, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna fucking lose it. So just, how are you? And also, what God are we talking about here?
What's up, guys? You guys are more patient than I am.
Thank
you hear me?
you. We try.
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, you. I like to take pride in my patience. So yeah, good job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been fascinated with you guys' conversations over the past. I probably found you guys a month ago, and it just seems so odd that there can be such a clash between, wanting to have evidence and just seemingly wanting to give it, but not capable of it, and trying to do everything other than trying to provide evidence.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised in high demand religion, Mormonism specifically. And
My condolences. Jehovah's Witness with me.
Say that again?
I grew up Jehovah's Witness. My condolences for the Mormonism.
Yeah, I had some JWs come into my door for a while after I moved back to Arizona.
Yeah, that was
I
me.
gotta say, though, well, you were really nice, and the only thing that got you to keep, not come back to my door was, I'd finally asked, like, what do I have to contribute to your group, to your organization? And his answer blatantly was like, yeah, we don't really care. We just want to teach you about Jesus and the right Bible. And I was like, well, if you have no value for me, then, fuck off. And he didn't come back. So,
okay.
But that was after like two months of like twice a week. It was unreal how dedicated the dude was until I just wanted to contribute to his group, and he didn't want my contribution.
Yep. They are super nice, and if you show a hint of interest, then they will harass you until you tell them to leave you alone. You were a return visit for that guy. I had lots of them, but I'm derailing. Go ahead with what you were saying.
Awesome. And it's not unlike the conversations I had growing up the whole time I was in Mormonism.
Yeah.
It's similar. Felt like there was a bit more room to navigate, but that's because I was in it. Now, when I genuinely, was considering divorce, I was like, hey, if I'm considering this, I might as well divorce everything and figure out who this person is that is me. Genuinely taking a step back, didn't have anything to do with truth claims or origins or things like that. But from a genuine view from the outside, I saw a different message, and then saw all the information that was available to that was not provided to me from within the box, sort of thing. Taking that into account, taking interactions with the JWs and listening to these conversations, I am so glad that I received word from Alan Watts was the one that said it best. Like asking the question, what's the difference between you and the God you believe in? And asking it that way is like, how can I believe in something without it being inside of my head, sort of thing. And ever since then, I love to not have to know or not have to need a God to exist. But after that, then what? My choice is I'm God and so are they. That totally humanizes the word God. It totally empowers me as much as I would like myself to empower myself, and myself to empower the people around me that I would like to respect and maybe think better of, despite their poor choices or good choices. It levels the playing field. It legitimizes all the effort that historians and scriptorians and theologians and everyone does to try to bring communities together and rally around common causes. It totally provides the space to judge the theologians that do inappropriate things in order to, project faith and project faith-based thinking. It's just been sort of an answer to reason with both sides of the conversation. Because for me, when I exited, didn't have any support, and still kind of face 6 years later. My kids are still in it. My ex is still in it. My parents are still in it. My siblings are still in it. The divorce took me out of state, and then I moved back a year and a half later and moved like 3 blocks away from the house I lived in, and my kids are still at. And when I did that, I bought a house that happened to be across the street from where they go to church. So religion is around me, surrounding me. So it's been really difficult to wrestle with, like, how do I define what I want to project to my kids?
Absolutely.
And how do I want to associate with people I love and that I'm close to, and that I find value in. I love how I was raised, and also identify my own authority and exercise it without being drowned out. And like it takes the pressure off. Like, okay, I don't have to create a religion. I don't have to create a movement. I don't have to this and that. I just have to fucking act like I'm a god. And then I get to test myself. And then I get to see all the other gods that have created things, And as soon as someone says, "Oh, my God, this," like, wow, you created a great God. Good job.
Right.
What a good God you are. Sort of thing. It's
well,
really
my only real qualm with any of that, or my interpretation of that is, people use the word God in a specific way. Now, coming or regaining kind of power over the situation that we were in, it cannot be underappreciated or underestimated. That's incredibly valuable. But when people use the word God, they usually mean something specific, particularly in this culture that we live in the United States, or Western, culture, whatever you want to call it, European United States. We're talking about the Christian God almost every single time, right? So when we say we are God, people have a specific interpretation of what that means, of course. That would be my only qualm. But taking power over your situation again is incredibly valuable. So I understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I still enjoy that I can like give credit to all the scribes and all the people that kept track of important historical events, and maybe they sugarcoated some things, and maybe they brought some specific meanings to things. And I think the worst thing we can do now is to like take those things literally and pretend that they were real when actually they were put there for a reason to teach us something, and that doesn't mean we have to believe that Moses led slaves out of Egypt. It's a story.
Right.
It's the same reason we go see movies. It's the same reason we read books. It's the same reason we look for characters of ourselves in everything that we do. It's because we're fucking gods and we're just confused.
Well, can I ask you a question about Mormonism? I understand that people are supposed to. I'm assuming that you're completely on the outside of it now. You don't believe any of it now, right?
I can. The way that I wrestle with it is I feel like I'm bilingual now. I don't no, I don't literally believe. But if I want to attend my nephew's missionary talk, I can go and I can genuinely sing. I can genuinely participate in their things, and it's participating in what I truly believe in is the people around me, my family, are the ability to bring our voices together and things like that. It doesn't have to legitimize some things that I personally have found to be illegitimate.
Sure. Yeah. And what about you're gonna have to forgive me. I know a little bit about this, but I know that the listening audience may not. So just clarify details if possible. But to get into the temple, which is where they do a bunch of different rituals, you need a temple recommend. So you have to be like current on tithes and things, right? Do you not have access to the temple anymore, or?
I could if I wanted to. I personally haven't had any interest in gaining access to the temple since about 2018. I don't know if going into that story would be helpful, but yes, the temple recommend requires a signature from your congregation leader and the stake president, which is kind of a handful of congregations.
I was wondering,
and then
I was wondering if getting into
not,
the temple is kind of a fundamental piece of being a Mormon, or if you're losing something by not going.
If my beliefs were literally intact, I would feel as if I lost my access to accessing the highest realm of heaven, or accessing my ability to remain connected to my kids after death. That's the selling point, is we want to keep our families together after we die. We want to do work for people that have died that didn't have the opportunity to choose for themselves, to do some of these saving ordinances, and a few of those things, and removing the belief makes it so I do not feel pressure. But there's a lot of privilege, a lot of rights, a lot of things you can participate in within the church that do require a temple worthy, or a temple recommend, or being temple worthy, such as like if my son recently turned 8 and he chose to get baptized. I wouldn't have been able to offer him the opportunity for me to baptize him, which at one point he expressed interest in, except I chose to have intentional conversations with my bishop and my stake president to address worthiness concerns that they had, that I just didn't bother with until I had a reason to. I resolved those things. Yeah, and I resolved those things. I was able to say, hey, Noah, if you would like me to baptize you, I have permission to. I don't have permission to, there's another ordinance when they turn 8 or convert, is giving the Holy Ghost and confirming a member of the the church. I wasn't interested in restoring that privilege of doing that. But, my son chose to have his cousin baptize him. And I was like, cool, man. Is there some other way you want me to participate in your baptism? He wanted me to be one of the two people that witnessed the baptism. And it was a good opportunity to look him in the eye and be like, I'm going to be the best water watcher you'll ever ask for. And so
you haven't had too much, you haven't lost too much then, generally? You think you've been able to kind of stay involved in family?
It sucks. There's about 20 to 40% of all interactions with my family that I'm just not a part of. And my sibling and parent family has been nothing but supportive of me. And so this is coming from a loving environment. There is 20 to 30% of connection that's lost just by them remaining in their belief and having their one language, and me not believing that and yet supporting them when they're participating in something. But I'm on my own to define how I do my thing. And it's not because they choose not to, it's just because they don't know how. They don't know how to support me. And they're not encouraged to do the work I've done.
Yep, that makes sense. I know that I lost my mom when I left Jehovah's Witnesses. I lost everybody, but everyone has left Jehovah's Witnesses since then. So my mom is the last of my whole family to stay inside. But even having lost her, losing 20 to 30% is still a lot. I understand.
And that's a fortunate. I don't know how it is when people face actual opposite. My marriage was incredibly hostile when I was trying to define what my faith on my terms. Every time I was trying to make a change, it was viewed as threatening physically and spiritually and emotionally. And so that was a whole thing. That's not the experience that I had with my parent and sibling family. Although since I have done what I've done, I've had 2 siblings all out leave, probably more thoroughly than I have, and 2 brothers sort of finding a nuanced group that kind of believes the same thing and just kind of ignores a lot of the influence that Brigham Young had.
Interesting. So a Mormon subset, or a Mormon like another Mormon group, I guess?
Yeah, it seems pretty grassroots. I don't know a whole lot about it. I attended their rebaptism where they, got to go out, not in the church, but out in, at the Salt River and got baptized by somebody. And I'm all for supporting them. And they're able, my one of my brothers, it was fun because this smaller group drinks wine with their sacrament, which is not done in the
they're making big changes then.
Organization. It is a big change. It was a change that I got to ask my brother, who was very devout, still is very devout. I was like, how was that transition from how you felt about alcohol to having it be a worshipful practice for you? He's like, it was relieving. It's been empowering. Like, all right, cool. You want to go get want to go get beer with me, or come over and watch a movie, and I can introduce you to the cider. And he lit up. It was an opportunity to connect.
Wow.
It was an opportunity to, it was really cool. And my favorite part about the shifting the word God to be what I feel is way more appropriate historically, factually, all of that is it's like an antidote to resentment. I still feel fucking pain, I still feel it when I recognize that I've had lost opportunities to connect with my kids when I've had to coach stake presidents on how to use their handbook in order to like acknowledge the rights of dads that are not that are in split families. Like I get ignored. I'm across the street when my kids are speaking in church, when they're getting ordained, when they're, I want to participate in a supportive way. I've been able to go to leadership, show them the handbook. Why aren't your bishops approaching me, asking for my consent for the ordinances you guys are doing with with kids? Like, you're totally right. It's appropriate. I'm going to coach all my bishops, and then had come back to them and be like, I have not been reached out to. And then the bishop reached out to me the next day. And like, I am having an effect. I'm exercising my authority, and I'm not needing any scripture, although I can read it and I can cite it and I can follow it just like anybody else. It's just not, I have hijacked my identity, and it feels great, but it's empty,
absolutely.
And it's lonely, and it's been a struggle to like build a community and an identity after that.
100%. Yeah, it's always a challenge to build a community after for everybody, because that's one of the things that religion provides better than anything else they provide is community, right? And when we walk out of religion, it does a number on us. We lose so much. And that's why we really need to be part of other communities when we exit, honestly. We should try to join other groups or, whatever. Just meet with other like non-believers every week or something. Because it makes us stronger when we do. But yeah, and it sounds like you are having an effect. I mean, they're breaking the rules effectively by not asking your permission, right? But this is how is reinforced. That's how
very
you
much like peeking behind the curtain of the Wizard of Oz sort of thing. It's like, I see behind the smiles. I'm doing it peacefully. I'm not, stepping on toes. I know my rights, and if I don't, I know where to read them, and I know who to talk to, and if I know, it's empowering.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you're, holding them to account, and you seem to be doing okay. Just try to find community. I know finding community is difficult. It's certainly difficult for me, honestly, even though I have some level of recognizability or whatever. It's still difficult for people to find like groups to join or whatever on a Saturday. You go hang out with people and stuff. I think that would do a lot of good for you and for me.
Yeah, for sure. I would love feedback on how to do that better. That's something I can improve on.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. You guys have a great one.
All right, you too.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah, I was happy to take a backseat on that one. You clearly had a deeper connection with that situation. I was just going, all right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. Right at the end, he mentioned finding like a group or whatever. There are atheist groups around that you can go to. Like in New York City, there's this atheist group that meets like every Sunday at the park, and they all just kind of hang out and talk. They're like 40 people. They just show up and chill. You guys should find a group like that, because community. Religion takes community from us, and it's important we take that back. So.
Yeah, absolutely does. Absolutely does. Last call of the night. We've got Dave, who called a while ago, and I invited him to call back and tell us like what was going on with his family. Dave, round us off with something pleasant. You're on the line with Forrest and Owen.
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear me okay. And I hope I'm able to give something resembling a real palate cleanser. Especially after the call with Jose, and my birthday got dropped like 5 times. Unfortunately, October 7th is my birthday, so I get to hear that all the time.
It's rough.
Yeah.
In the news. But going back to some like actual cool stuff to talk about, I too am a former Mormon, and you and I spoke. I believe you were on the other show with Secular Rarity when we spoke before. And I was talking about having difficulties a couple of years ago, but we maybe spoke about a year ago, when my late trans sister passed, and I, came into some real emotional turmoil with my mother, who is active believing Mormon and active in the church, and there were a lot of rough things for that for me and her, because also my oldest child is a trans boy, trans mask, and and basically you didn't really have a whole lot of advice for me other than like, yeah, this shit with family is rough, but you said, hey, call back if things get better. So here I am. Some things got better.
Right, yeah. Let's hear about it. What happened?
Well, and I'll admit I was a little bit in my own cups when this happened, but my mom and I were on a phone call. She was asking me to bring her some stuff because she's in a recovery home right now. And we were talking, and she referred to my late sister with the wrong pronouns for the infinity time, and I lost it. I lost it on her, and I was like, Mom, I don't feel like you care about your kids. She said, of course I care. I said, Mom, if you cared, it wouldn't take you 3 years to get your dead daughter's pronouns right. If you cared, you wouldn't be giving your money to organizations like the Mormon Church who actively use your tithing to hurt people. I straight up said, Mom, you wouldn't be sitting at the table with Nazis, because as far as I'm concerned, the Mormon Church is white picket fence nationalism. That's my own little joke. You can borrow it if you like.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective on it for sure.
But it finally hit her that she is going to lose the rest of her family that she has left if she doesn't start thinking things differently. And she just straight up asked me, like, well, where should I give my money? And I said, well, I could think of a couple of great organizations. The first two that popped into my mind were Wounded Warriors and Trevor Project, because those are things that are close to my particular heart. Hurt soldiers and let's make sure we keep LGBTQ kids alive are two things that are really important to me. And this is a success story. She's not leaving the church, but she's going to stop giving her money to the church. She's going to start giving her tithing to those two charities instead. That's a fucking win.
Awesome.
And I'm so damn glad. And
That is a win. Absolutely. I know that I've heard bad things about Wounded Warriors, though, specifically. I don't know. Maybe that's outdated incorrect.
It is outdated. I do know what you're referring to. There was a CEO of Wounded Warriors in the past. Hey, buddy, my son just got home. I'll be right with you. I'm on the phone. Right with you. I'm on the phone. I will help you fold that. Yes, I will help you fold that box.
I remember.
Be right with you as soon as I'm done. My ex just dropped the kids off. She's actually an hour late, but that's beside the point. I had time to wait.
Calling her out online. Crazy.
Yeah, but no, the outdated information. There was a Wounded Warrior. There was an issue where there was some embezzlement that happened, and this happened like about a decade ago. And because that scandal became very public, the practices of the organization radically shifted. I have not seen anything that I recognize as misconduct in my views of the organization. But, something could come to light that could change my mind on that. But I do know that the previous misconduct is old, and they did a lot of changes after that.
Wow. Okay. I did not know about all that. Very interesting. But yeah, that is a win. Like you said, take the wins where we can get them, right?
Right. Oh, that's something that my friend dropped off from the Pride Parade for you. Yeah, it's a little like inflatable bat that you and your brother can hit each other with. Yeah.
An inflatable bat. Love it. Yeah.
I love it. Well, Dave, I'm fucking delighted by this update. Thank you so much for calling in and spreading the good news and letting everybody know that everything's going so well. Incredible progress with your family. Incredible win. That's fantastic. Thank you. That is the exact kind of good news that I would like to end the show on.
I am happy to have been that good news. And from one renegade to another, you're the renegade science teacher. I'm the renegade staffer. You have a good day.
Nice. Take care. Bye-bye. What? I didn't expect the show to be delightful at the end.
I know. It was really good.
I'm disappointed that fucking James Walton didn't call in again. If you go over to my channel on the YouTubes, I posted a video called I Went to Ecuador to Prove a Point. And it's 2 weeks now. This dude commented on there with this fucking just god-awful argument for God. And I was like, hey, yo, this sucks. And if you want, you can call into the line. Dude left me a book of how many fucking comments was this? 11 just less and less hinged along the way comments. And I was like, hey, you still didn't call in though, and he's still on your comment. I keep begging him to call in. Go read this thread. It's so much fun. I can put it on screen, but it's just not super worth it. But like, yeah, I want to read some highlights.
Okay, yeah. Did you paste it in the chat there?
Well, it's a comment on a video, so I don't know how I would paste the link. But like this, yeah, fucking respond to the paragraph below or admit defeat and zip it permanently. This is the gambit to all atheists. First of all, I fucking love it when commenters do this. But you have to agree to this or you don't get to talk about this anymore. They get to dictate what your content is. Fucking hilarious. And this is the paragraph. Let me know in the comments if you think this is the best argument you've ever heard. Demonstrate how intelligence in the design has been falsified through the scientific method. Or if you've somehow confirmed there exists no evidence of intelligence in the design, and then, ? Also, explain how you've developed these supernatural abilities of perception to know the unknown. Good luck. So again, demonstrate how intelligence in the design has been falsified through the scientific method, or how you've somehow confirmed there exists no evidence of intelligence in the design, period. And then, ? Also, explain how you developed these supernatural abilities of perception of the unknown. Now, what I love about this, more than just how that is dumb. That's a dumb argument. What I love about this more is the whole comment here is that atheists still don't understand how science works, even if they were a entry-level Padawan lowly biologist, Forrest Gump, Valkai, all caps, Dunning-Kruger for real. Then in parentheses, not yelling, I've explained that before.
Oh my God.
And then he has the so just the tone, the demands, the clarification that you're not yelling. Funny as shit. And past that, if you look up this thing, all the other comments are fucking just hysterical, and they just go on and on. Calls me a scientist in quotation marks, says perhaps Dunning-Kruger was a bit much. And then later on, all caps, you fucking Dunning-Kruger asshole, you science hack. Get ready for a smackdown this Sunday when I call and expose you for the science hack you really are. Never called in. Hasn't called in for 2 weeks. This comment, also, ? Check and mate. What? It's so good. And then oh my God. And then also he linked a YouTube short, which is himself calling Matt Dillahunty Matt Dillabooty for a minute straight.
Oh
and that's the short. That's the short. And I'm like, that's not me, right? Why did you send me that short? What's going on? It's so fucking funny. So go to my most recent YouTube video. I went to Ecuador to prove a point. Go to most recent comments, scroll back about 2 weeks. James Walton 4259, absolute treasure trove. That whole comment thread, so fucking fun. Those are the comments that I get out of bed for. Those fucking they make me laugh for so long, and they're so much fun. We
need to encourage him to come on and talk to you. Leave some replies to him, right?
I'm a science hack. Prove that I'm a science hack. I would love to hear. He claims to have talked to me before. But in that thread, he's like, I already talked to you and that guy with the Satanic Bible. Who? Who did you talk to? What? I don't know. It's, oh my glob. Anyway, I wanted to read that whole thing last week. I'm not going to go and actually read the whole thread, but oh my god, it kills me so
That's
much.
good.
Probably R&R.
Oh, and yeah, probably R&R, but I haven't hosted with R&R, and I don't even know how long. So, like, who the fuck is this guy talking about? What is this? Anyway, Owen, it's a fucking delight working with you, my guy. Love hosting with you all the time.
Absolutely, yes. I'm glad we got to host together too today. That was awesome.
We covered a lot. Main takeaways from this stream: neither socks, nor defensive driving, nor good orgasms, nor breast milk are miracles. Free Palestine. That's a big one. Throwing out the last call there, trans rights are human rights, and trans lives matter, and sex and gender are different things, and neither one is binary. And I was going to throw on, just for funsy, Trump's pedophile. Trump's pedophile. Doesn't actually... Epstein files or not, if we never see those Epstein files, we've still got that clip of him on Howard Stern saying that he likes to walk into the changing room of the underage girls at the Miss Teen USA pageant that he owns and see their gorgeous bodies, and he gets to do it because he owns the pageant. Trump's pedophile, and MAGA defends pedophiles. And that's the news. And if any cult members want to call and take an issue with it, call me next time I host. I'll be right here. With that, oh, fuck. I got hung up. I don't know where I left off, but if any cultists take umbrage with anything that I just said, call me next time I'm hosting. I would love to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Owen, you got anything to end on?
I think that's it. Thanks so much for doing the show with me.
Thank you for having me as a host, guest, friend, person, and we should do things together some more. With that, That's our show, y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Sunday Show After Dark. Let's get the credits up on the screen. And while we're watching those, I want to say thank you so much to our call screeners tonight. Thank you so much to Amargan for producing tonight. Thank you so much to our mods in chat for keeping things clean and friendly in there. Thank you so much to all the people in the chat, even the ones that sucked. Thank you to all of our callers tonight, even the ones that sucked. Thank you for watching. Have an awesome rest of your day. Free Palestine. Never stop learning. See you later.